Unemployed, in medical crisis, and the chance to win $1 billion on reality TV.
This is America, damn it! And we don't put up with no bullshit!
Well, it's a version of America at least. Edgar Wright's The Running Man is running into theaters in November, and you won't want to be left behind. Chances are the premise here will seem familiar. Maybe you've read The Running Man, the 1982 novel by Stephen King, writing under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. Maybe you've seen The Running Man, the 1987 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or maybe you're just an American adult who's ever had to go to a doctor. Either way, Ben Richards is a down-on-his-luck construction worker who's in desperate need of some cash to pay for his sick daughter's medication. Lucky or unlucky for him, there's Freevee, reality TV for the masses, and the company that runs Freevee, the network, is always looking for new victims, or contestants. Ben winds up on The Running Man, a game show with big risks and an even bigger reward. Last a month on the streets for $1 billion. The only problem, as you've likely figured out from the trailer, is that anyone is allowed to kill said runners, and the worst of them are the hunters, the network's team of assassins. Oh, and no one's managed to last 30 days yet, but Ben sure hopes to be the first. The year here might also feel familiar. Well, the first movie took place between 2017 and 2019, so futuristic for 1987. King's novel is actually set in 2025, and this Running Man, while not given a specific date, is in a way a combination of the two. Marcus Rowlands, the film's production designer, told Entertainment Weekly that they took inspiration from the dystopian future of 70s and 80s cinema, so expect a version of 2025 that feels like an extension of movies like Rollerball and Escape from New York.
I've seen you before. You're the asshole on TV.
If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, then you probably already know one Running Man. Schwarzenegger was at the height of his career when he slipped into the yellow spandex jumpsuit of Ben Richards. This version is a former cop with a heart of gold, framed for the slaughter of a group of protesters. He breaks out of prison,
Give you a lift?
and gets recruited for the Running Man game show, thanks to his murderous reputation and snappy nickname. Who wouldn't want the Bakersfield Butcher headlining their show? The rest of the movie is very 80s and not much at all like the actual story it's based on, but at least we get some killer ice hockey moves, right? In 2025, Schwarzenegger talked about the film's shortcomings, telling CBR that he wished it had more money and better special effects and that it could have been better. That's not to say it's a terrible movie. Indeed, it's one of Arnie's most entertaining, but when the star says it could have been better, you know there's room for improvement. Does that mean Edgar Wright's take will bear zero resemblance to 1987's version? Not necessarily, although it will benefit from a larger budget, thanks Paramount, and a 30-year improvement in effects technology. But anyone who knows Wright's prior work knows he's more than capable of doing the whole dark humor meets action thing better.
Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
One of the biggest changes from the 1987 film to 2025's is where it takes place. Schwarzenegger's Ben spends most of his time in an arena put together by the network. But that's not where the book, or Wright's version, is set. King's story uses the entire country as its playground, and for Wright, going back to that setting was at the top of his priority list. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he talked about his love for King's work, and for The Running Man specifically. He read the novel before seeing the 87 film, which he called a pretty loose kind of adaptation of the material. He explained, "The stuff on the game show is closest to the book, and then it's completely doing its own thing. I always thought, oh, most of the book has not been adapted." Making a better Running Man actually became a thing for Wright. In fact, in 2017, he said that if he could remake any film, it would be that film. When The Running Man's producer Simon Kinberg offered Wright the chance to do it, he said, "It was like a gift that just came into my inbox."
So it actually, you know, one of those rare emails where somebody hands it to you on a plate and says, "Do you have any interest in The Running Man?" I said, "Yes, I do. I have thoughts."
And he was serious about doing the story justice. Wright reunited with his Scott Pilgrim vs. the World co-writer Michael Bacall for the script and immediately got to work. One change the pair knew they'd have to make going in was with King's ending, which, if you know, you know. King had final approval on the script, and as Wright explained to Film Stories magazine, he realized even before he read it that we weren't going to be doing the ending from the book. And when King emailed back, he said, "I was very curious how you were going to tackle the ending, and I think you did a great job." So I was very happy with that. If you've been to the movies at any point in the last few years, you know who Glenn Powell is. He's actually been cooking around Hollywood for over 2 decades. But then 2022's Top Gun Maverick happened, and Powell charmed audiences and Wright as Lieutenant Jake Hangman Saracen.
You put your team in danger and your wingman's dead.
They couldn't keep up.
Since then, he's been everywhere, doing not quite Hitman things, wooing Sydney Sweeney, chasing tornadoes,
If you feel it, I said if you feel it,
Wright actually knew he wanted Powell in the role for some time before the actor was officially cast. He told Empire magazine, "I felt it was important to see somebody who hadn't really done something like this before. It's similar to Bruce Willis when he was still the guy from Moonlighting before he did Die Hard, where that adds to the suspense." As for getting stunt ready, Powell was already in the right kind of shape. According to Wright, it was important for those washboard abs to be more regular construction guy and less former Mr. Olympia. But while Powell has proven himself to be both a lovable leading man and a capable action star, the action of the Running Man was something entirely new for the actor, who did most of his own stunts.
I'm gonna get my ass kicked.
So of course, the first thing he did when he got offered the part was turn to Tom Cruise for advice. He told Entertainment Weekly, "I spent like 2.5 hours on the phone with him. I took a million notes. I knew I was going to have to put my body on the line in this movie. The training for me was really about making myself as bulletproof as humanly possible, because I take every hit known to man in this thing." Powell, of course, isn't the only recognizable face in the film. Josh Brolin, who's been on one hell of a career upswing the last decade, plays smarmy network executive Dan Killian.
Few people have asked, like, what is it about you that's, why do they keep choosing you as a villain? And I would like to know that too.
Just how much of a pain can we expect Killian to be for Ben? Brolin told Entertainment Weekly, "Killian loves to create any scenario that he can that's going to bring more people emotionally wrapped up into the show, regardless of the consequences." Also on the network side is the Running Man host, Bobby T. He's played by Oscar-nominated actor Coleman Domingo. And if his presentation style seems like something you've seen before, there's a reason. Domingo said he was inspired in part by the late great Jerry Springer.
bloodlust is our birthright. Set it free.
And the network's hunters, you'll know them too. Well, maybe not totally by their faces. At least that's the case with McCone. He's the headhunter in The Mask.
I got a grenade.
Back at you.
And he's played by Lee Pace of Foundation and MCU fame. There's also Carl Glusman, whose most recent roles include Civil War and Eenie Meenie. As for the other runners, they're played by Please Don't Destroy's Martin Herlihy and Katie O'Brien, who wowed critics and impressed Wright with her performance in 2024's Love Lies Bleeding. When it comes to the people in and around Ben's life on the run, you've got Sinners actor Jamie Lawson playing his wife, Sheila, William H. Macy as a black market dealer, Task's Amelia Jones as one of this world's more privileged citizens, and Michael Cera in another Scott Pilgrim vs. the World reunion. He plays Elton, a rebel of sorts.
Are you crazy?
Oh, and speaking of Scott Pilgrim, there's even a brief cameo for Michael Bacall. So Edgar Wright had already made sure that his Running Man would meet with the approval of the original story's author. But what about the star of that first pretty loose kind of adaptation? Well, he got that approval too. Glenn Powell happens to be longtime friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Patrick. He also appeared alongside Arnold in 2014's The Expendables 3. So Wright kind of had an in with the former governor. Powell told People magazine that he and Wright spoke with Schwarzenegger over FaceTime and said, "Arnold gave us his full blessing, and we get to give Arnold a very specific fun gift from the movie in a couple of weeks here. So I'm very excited to see him."
He said, look, I mean, the original Stephen King book is awesome. And he's like, you guys could do this way better than what we did.
But Schwarzenegger didn't just give the creative team his blessing. He's genuinely excited for the new movie. He told CBR that he's optimistic Wright's version will be an improvement over the '87 film, saying, "I love the idea that they're doing a sequel to Running Man or a remake. I don't know what it's going to be. I think that they have a good chance now with the new Running Man to make it better. And I hope for their sake and for my sake, I hope that they will be successful." And what about that very specific fun gift from the movie that Powell mentioned during his People interview? He never specified what it was exactly, but eagle-eyed fans might have spotted an Easter egg in the film's trailer, dedicated to the first Ben Richards. In a blink and you'll miss it moment, one of the show's models flashes a couple stacks of cash with Arnie's face front and center.
If you're a fan of the Arnold, you'll see some of it in our movie.
As for Schwarzenegger's hope that Wright and company will be successful, we'll just have to wait and see if The Running Man can run all the way to #1 at the box office when it opens November 14th.